How's it going, traders? Hopefully you guys enjoy this weekly Forex forecast, and make sure to subscribe if you're new to the channel. All right, starting things off with the US dollar Cot Report. The past week, the banks got rid of 3,280 long positions and they added 4,458 short positions. And if you do want that Cot Report spreadsheet, link is to the Patreon down below. Now, looking at the weekly chart of the US dollar, obviously we are just continuing to push up higher. It's looking stronger than ever. And if you look at my 4-chart layout, it's very clear that all 4 time frames are trending up. We had that some US dollar news come out. Interest rates were bumped up, and we obviously had a strong push up. Now, I do think we could see a little bit of a pullback here in the US dollar, but in the meantime, we have strong trends, so we want to continue to buy with the US dollar, just like I've been saying for the past, I don't know, maybe 10 to 15 Forex forecasts. You can go back and check that out as well. So with that being said, we have weekly supply being removed, daily uptrends. It's just looking very, very strong. Now, if you come over to a 4-hour chart, it is a little bit overextended, so I do expect it to probably pull back. Whether it pulls back to this 4-hour demand zone or not, I don't really know. That's very difficult to predict because we could pull back down to here and push up. It could pull back a little bit lower, or we could just shoot up higher. But at the end of the day, we have strong trends on the daily, weekly, 4-hour, and 1-hour chart, so we need to continue to be buying with the US dollar until we can see the evidence that price is turning around. And that evidence would look something like this, where we start to have a 4-hour downtrend, demand zones are starting to be taken out, and until then, I think we need to continue to buy the US dollar. If you want to wait for the dip buy opportunity, here's your dip buying opportunity on the 4-hour chart on the US dollar. All right, on to the EURUSD forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 1,214 longs and they added 46,500 short positions. Absolutely insane on the Euro US dollar. As you can see, just like the opposite of the US dollar index, we are trending down on all 4 time frames. Last week, we reacted off of my daily supply zone there perfectly. Now we have new daily supply left right there. So as far as the euro goes, obviously you guessed it, trends are all down, so we need to be continuing to trade with that downward trend on all 4 time frames. So there's a lot of options. One thing that stands out to me right away is if you come over to this 4-hour chart, we have some 4-hour supply zones right here. We actually have a new 4-hour supply zone right there. So in my opinion, you could be looking for confirmation off of these supply zones. Let's say it comes up to here, you could look for confirmation there, and you could do it on this zone as well on a 15-minute chart for both of those zones. It must be on a 15-minute chart. Now, this zone would be a little bit lower odds compared to this zone, but you could do it on both. I think that's fine. And another trading opportunity would be set and forget entries. Since we have trends on the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart, you could be set and forget trading like a 1-minute chart as well to the downside, just trading pullbacks to supply zones on the 1-minute or even maybe the 5-minute chart as well. That's pretty much all I'm seeing here on the euro. There's really no need to complicate it. I would just be looking for short entries however you like to trade. Maybe you don't trade supply and demand. Maybe you trade support and resistance or flag patterns or whatever you like to do. But in my opinion, it needs to be short until we can start to see a 4-hour uptrend, and at that point I would stop looking for shorts, and then I would come over to a daily chart, wait for daily supply to be hit, and look for shorts in there. So hopefully that makes sense on the euro US dollar, and I cannot stress this enough. Do not try to trade against this trend. Yes, you could get lucky and it could start to push up and we could go to all-time highs, but at the end of the day, we want to always be placing our money with the higher time frame trends, and the higher time frame trends right now are down, and they've been down for a while. So yes, it's obvious that we could get a pullback to the upside, and I kind of am expecting that, but like I just said, we have to continue to trade with the downward trend. All right, on to gold. The past week, the banks got rid of 11,375 long contracts and they added 20,247 short contracts. Now, in last week, I did talk about this 4-hour supply zone, and I did call out this 4-hour supply zone in the private Discord group right here. And as you can see, we had a beautiful reaction off of this supply zone right there. So hopefully you guys caught that trade. I did shout it out to the private Discord group. And remember, if you guys do want my supply zones like this and this one throughout the week, updated daily, check out the YouTube or Patreon membership. It's only $5 CAD per month. You can get my daily chart analysis, like I said, updated daily. I would be happy to see you guys join the team. A lot of traders are using it. So as far as gold goes now, yes, we are trending down on lower time frames. and even the higher time frames have a very strong trend down. And in most situations, I would say continue to trade with that downward trend. And I think it's fine to be shorting, 5-minute charts or 1-minute charts to continue to trade with that trend. But the problem, what I see is we are about to contact a very, very significant area of demand. I'm not going to get into too much detail, but based on my macro view of gold, I think that we could easily see price turn around within the 1630 to even 1560, 1580 range. And if that fails, I think we can even see a pullback all the way down to here. Now, I know this is very far away, but I am looking to buy gold in this area right here. Like I said, from about 1630 to 1580, 1575, in that range. Now, that does not mean I will just be looking to just randomly buy gold and just pray. I am going to be looking for confirmation. Now, what I'm going to be looking for is I'm going to be on this 4-hour chart right here. We kind of have another trend line right here. It's not the best looking trend line, but basically when price hits that area at exactly 1633, 1634, I will be on this 4-hour chart and I'll be looking for confirmation to the upside. So that's pretty much all I'm personally waiting for here on gold. There's really not much else to say. Like I said, you could look for shorts to the downside, trading it to this weekly area of demand. But until that, it's just kind of risky because I do suspect to see a move up from gold at that point. And it kind of correlates to the US dollar pulling into supply as well. So in my opinion, I think gold is going to move up. I just need to see that confirmation to the upside first. Other than that, I'm really not seeing any trading opportunities. Just need to wait for gold to get a little bit lower, and I think it'll offer a fantastic not only trading opportunity to the upside, but also a long-term potential investing opportunity as well. All right, on to the USDJPY forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 3,968 long contracts, and they also got rid of 4,556 short contracts. Now, looking at the yen, obviously strong trends on all time frames right now, except for the 4-hour and the 1-hour chart. We did lose some momentum here with that US dollar news coming out. So with that being said, let's look at some trading setups. The first thing that I noticed that goes right to my eye is this daily chart here. I talked about this in last week's Forex Forecast as well. You should definitely go back and watch that. I said if we did pull back on the USD yen when price was up here, I said we are probably going to pull back into this daily demand zone and most likely react from it. If not this one, then this one. But as you can see, we reacted perfectly off that area, and that is why we wait for dip buying opportunities. Now, with that being said, now we want to ask ourselves, how do we trade this? Well, obviously, in my opinion, since we have a weekly and daily uptrend and daily demand is in control, it has to be longs. So we could have been looking for a confirmation trade coming off of that daily demand. Confirmation should be taken on a 1-hour chart based on it being the daily chart. As you can see here, we have a 1-hour chart. We had supply right here, and the supply was removed. The problem was, and still is that there's really no significant demand that was responsible for removing it. So it could have been a time where you just place kind of a stop buy limit order right here with a stop loss somewhere down here. Hopefully, let it ride out. So I'm not really seeing any setups at all on this pair. Unfortunately, I'm really, really upset. I was very much looking forward. I saw price pulling back into this daily demand right here, and I was looking very much forward to getting a potential trade off that area. But obviously it didn't work out, and we didn't even get a demand zone off of that. So with that being said, remember we have a weekly uptrend, daily demand in control. So however you like to trade, whether it's support, resistance, whatever, look to get in long. That is my only thing I could really say based on my own opinion is however you like to trade, it's going to be longs all the way here. And your first profit target should easily just be this 4-hour supply zone right here, or the high, whatever one you like. If you think it's going to go higher, then by all means go higher. But I unfortunately have to report that I don't see any demand zones to be looking to be taken right now on any time frame. So that's pretty unfortunate. So what I'm going to be waiting for is on this 4-hour chart, I'm going to wait for this 4-hour demand zone to be removed. And if we get a 4-hour demand zone right here, that would be a decent area to look for a confirmation long trade in. But overall, USDN looking very strong, just a minor pullback into daily demand. And hopefully, and I think what's going to happen is we're going to continue to trade with that overall uptrend. GBPUSD forecast. The past week, the banks added 160 longs and they got rid of 13,083 short contracts. So looking at the pound, still we have a weekly, daily, 4-hour, and a 1-hour downtrend. So you guessed it, it's going to be longs. Just kidding. It's going to be shorts. I just want to make sure that you guys, hopefully you guys are kind of confused there. I don't know, trying to make this forecast a little more entertaining. Just trying to be funny. So it's going to be shorts all the way, in my opinion. So if you want to continue to trade with the weekly and daily downtrend, we have to find zones on the 4-hour chart or the 1-hour chart to potentially look to short. And I'm already seeing 2 zones right now. First zone here is this 1-hour supply zone. You could definitely look for a 5-minute confirmation trade coming off of that 1-hour supply zone right there. So mark it down on your charts. As far as the 4-hour chart goes, there's a little zone here, and I'm kind of confused on this zone. I'm conflicted if I want to draw it here or if I want to draw it up here. And actually, I think I'm going to keep it up there like that. So if price pulls back to here, which is very possible, this is a very steep pullback, you could definitely, look for a confirmation trade on this 4-hour supply zone. But on this supply zone, you must look for only 15-minute confirmation to the downside. It must be on a 15-minute chart. And if you don't know what confirmation trading is, I know I mention it a lot. Check out the Tier 2 membership. I have a full trading tips playlist video with lots of confirmation videos in there, but we also have private confirmation video lessons as well if you're a YouTube or Patreon membership. So if you're a member on there, if you want to be a member, check it out. Links in the description down below to that. We also have many other things like private forecasts every Sunday, and we also have the new thing I just made, which is the high probability trading solver, which I'm extremely excited about. So definitely check that out. We'll be happy to see you guys join the team. But as far as the pound goes, it's shorts all the way. Set and forget trades are also applicable here on a 5-minute or a 1-minute chart. Based on what I'm seeing, but I think the safest bet is to just wait for confirmation in either that 1-hour supply zone or that 4-hour supply zone. All right, on to the USDCAD forecast. The past week, the banks added 10,180 long contracts and they got rid of 189 short contracts. As you can see on this 4-chart layout, trends on all 4 time frames. We had a huge move up on this weekly chart right here. So with that being said, it's longs all the way on USDCAD. We just need to wait for potential setups. Now, first things first, if you look at a 1-hour chart, we have 1-hour demand. Let me just mark it out right here. But I'm going to be ignoring that 1-hour demand, and I'm going to be immediately going to this 4-hour demand zone on the 4-hour chart. So if price pulls back to this 4-hour demand, technically this is valid as a set and forget trade, which means you just place an order here with a stop loss there, take profit up here. You could technically do that. It's a little risky, not a huge fan of the zone. So what I would suggest is to look for a confirmation trade on a 15-minute chart coming off of that 4-hour demand zone. Let's say price pulls back into here, you lose the trade or it never gives you confirmation, and we start to pull back. Well, then we have to ask ourselves, where is it pulling back into? And in my opinion, it's going to be pulling back into this daily area of demand down here. So if price breaks that 4-hour demand, we can push down to about 1.33. We can get a confirmation trade coming off of that daily demand zone. So that's pretty much all I see here on USDCAD. It's longs 100% of the way. So however you like to trade it long, in my opinion, based on the trends. I don't recommend getting in short at all until we can see this 4-hour demand zone removed, and then maybe a 4-hour downtrend would be nice as well. Then you could start to day trade like a 1-minute or a 5-minute chart down to this daily demand zone. But I don't even really recommend doing that based on how strong the weekly uptrend is. So it's longs all the way. First pullback would be to this 4-hour demand zone. Second pullback would be to this daily demand zone. And let's say we don't get the pullback on this 4-hour chart. Well, what do we do from there? Well, any new 4-hour zones that are formed up here like this, I will have drawn on my chart, and you will also get that if you are a YouTube or Patreon member, and we can look to trade confirmation in those zones. So that's one good reason to sign up. I will have all of the nearest, highest quality zones that you can look to trade confirmation in. So those are the 2 options here on USDCAD. All right, on to the Aussie US dollar. The past week, the banks added 9,579 long contracts, and they got rid of 7,715 short contracts. Now, downtrends on the weekly, daily, 4-hour, and 1-hour chart. Obviously, you guys are noticing the theme of this video. It's shorts because the trends are mostly down on all pairs right now. Now, looking at the weekly chart, we are contacting weekly demand. And in my opinion, it's a pretty significant demand zone. I think we could definitely see a move up from this demand. So I'd be careful shorting, but at the end of the day, we want to continue to trade with those overall downtrends on the higher time frames. So with that being said, let's look for a few potential setups here on the Aussie US dollar. Really, the only thing I see in my opinion, is this 1-hour chart. We have 2 1-hour supply zones right here. You could look for confirmation coming off of both of those, but considering weekly demand is basically in control and the quality of these zones are very poor quality, I would look to take profits very quickly at like 1 to 1, 2 to 1 on a 5-minute chart. Even this zone as well, I would do the same there. That being said, I don't really see much else here on the Aussie US dollar. If we do get a significant push to the upside, the good news is we have a daily supply zone right here that you could look to get involved with to the short side on a 1-hour chart confirmation. So that's pretty much all I see here on the Aussie US dollar. Really not much else to say. Just remember, weekly demand is technically in control, and it does not mean that we're just going to see a huge move up because it's weekly demand. I know a lot of supply and demand traders think like that. But it does mean that we could see a small move up from this demand zone and then a push down, which is what I think is going to happen based on the overall downtrends. And remember, since we're trading against the US dollar here in this situation, everything is going to revolve around the DXY. So it is very, very key to look at the DXY and see what is happening on there. Now, if the DXY starts to push up, we could see a significant push up. But overall, downtrends, so we got to continue with the trend. Unfortunately, there's no 4-hour supply zones that are fresh for us to trade. Actually, you know what? I missed this one. That's my bad. We have a 4-hour supply zone right here. So if that 1-hour supply zone fails, not a problem. We have a 4-hour supply zone right here that we can look to get in a confirmation trade on a 50-minute chart. So those are two pretty high quality supply zones we could look to be trading. And I'll definitely be keeping an eye on that 4-hour supply zone for sure, especially since we have that weekly downtrend. All right, on to the USD Swiss franc forecast. The past week, the banks got rid of 100 long contracts and added 463 short positions. So as far as this chart goes, it's kind of all over the place. Yes, we have the weekly uptrend. I've talked about this 1,000 times. I hate repeating myself, but I'm not a fan of this price action on the weekly chart. The daily chart, there's no trend. 4-hour, we have momentum up, but not really a trend. We have a trend on the 1-hour chart, though. But the problem is this chart is all out of whack. We did react off my daily demand zone. You can go back maybe 5 forecasts ago. I called out this daily demand zone before it came in contact, and we moved perfectly off of that demand zone. So I was probably saying to get in long down here. But since we're so high up, I'm not a huge fan of it. What I'm waiting to see first is I need to see evidence that this trend is going to, that this daily chart is going to start trending. And what that's going to look like is this high being removed, because then we can draw our trend line. And at that point, we will have an upward trend on the daily chart. Until then, I do not recommend trading this pair short or long. So I would wait for that trend to continue. And at that point, like I said, we'll have a daily uptrend. And at that point, a lot of trading options come into play, where we can start to look at 1-hour demand zones to get in long at, 4-hour demand zones to look for confirmation in. So with that being said, I would just wait for that high to be removed, proving to us that the momentum on the daily chart is significant enough to break the high, which would give us the uptrend, and then trading opportunities will definitely come, but that'll probably be for next week's forecast. All right, on to crude oil. The past week, the banks added 1,872 long contracts, and they got rid of 10,949 short contracts. Now, before we get started, I am looking for longs in oil right now, 100%. The reason why is because we are about to contact this weekly demand. This is embedded inside a 3-month area of demand that I think is a very strong demand zone. Now, I might just place an order at this weekly demand. I'm not 100% sure yet. I'll have to think about it over the weekend as part of my position. But the second part of what I'm looking to do is I'm looking at this daily chart. And I did point this out in the private Discord group. I think I talked about this in last week's forecast. I'm not 100%. I talked about how we had this daily supply zone here, and I was waiting for this to be removed for confirmation. And that is why it's very important to wait for confirmation, because look, we reacted perfectly off my supply zone and continued to drop down. So I would have been stopped out if I would have just said, I think it's going to break based on whatever, but it didn't. We needed to see that evidence by removing that supply, and we did not get that. So unfortunately, we didn't get that, but hopefully price pushes a little bit lower, creates new daily supply down here that I can look for that to be removed from my confirmation instead of this zone, and then I can get in long. I do not recommend getting in short on oil right now. Yes, we have downward trends on the on the 4-hour and the daily chart. So technically, yes, 1 minute. If you're going to be shorting, which I don't recommend, which I mean, not everyone's going to listen, which is completely fine. You can do whatever you want. But shorts are going to have to be on a 5-minute or a 1-minute chart. If you're really, really looking to get in short, I love this 1-hour supply zone based on the look of it. So we could see a little 5-minute trade come off of that. But at the end of the day, we are contacting very, very significant macro areas of demand. So I'm going to be looking for longs. I do suspect oil. I don't really think oil is going to get below $72 a barrel. I just don't. That is just my honest opinion. So I will be looking for confirmation, which is going to be on the daily chart. Other than that, really not seeing too much. If you're feeling very risky and really wanting to get in long like as soon as possible, which I completely understand, and I'm kind of feeling that way too. You could be on this 4-hour chart looking for confirmation like that, where we remove that downward trend line and the supply, and then that would be your pullback confirmation like that. So with that being said, that is crude oil. I cannot wait to get in long in this pair. It might kind of burn me by getting involved too early, but I think that that's fine, and I do suspect a move to the upside coming very, very soon. Hopefully you guys found this weekly Forex forecast helpful. If you did, make sure to let me know in the comments down below. Leave a like and check out the Patreon or YouTube membership if you need help finding your supply and demand zones. It's only $5 CAD per month. Hope to see you guys there and hope to see you in the next video.